It's a great day, a beautiful day to draft the winning Best Ball Mania team. We're going to try a couple Best Ball Mania drafts here on Spike Week. That's it. Let's kick off our weekend with some best ball action. Let's do it. All right, guys, happy Friday. If you are a basketball fan, you are very likely to be jazzed up, pacered up from last night's game. We're going to see if we can't take down Best Ball Mania like the Pacers just straight up dismantled the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. Wow. Game 7. There's few things better in our nerdy sports world than a Game 7. Can't wait. But first, we're going to see if we can't draft a little bit of shippers, as some may say in the DFS world, as Charisma saying, great day to draft a shipper. Amen. Alex says, hit the old like button on your way in. It'd be much appreciated. Morning, GM. That's a lot of GMs. GM. K lost so much money because he thought OKC was going to close it out. I believe I told my wife before the game started, like, yeah, Halliburton, the calf thing, and I know they're at home, but it feels like last game was kind of the dagger, the final straw in the all right, OKC wore this team down type of a deal. And maybe they still have worn them down and they'll win. Game 7 in Oklahoma City is clearly in Oklahoma City's favor, but one game, man, anything can happen, and the Pacers certainly have to be confident after last night. Just wow. Still kind of can't believe that happened. Let's go ahead and pop on into a BBM 20 seconds. We'll do 20 seconds so we can fire a couple of these fairly quickly. This is my 21st BBM. We're taking it reasonably slow this year. Something I feel like I have learned over the years is the idea that there's like all this value early. I don't want to overdo it. There are absolutely reasons to draft, when contests launch, absolutely. Before we, get to mini camps and training camps, absolutely. But I always found I ended up not getting the kind of teams that I like. Why was I drafting for that time of the season? I ended up not getting those exact teams ever. So what I've been doing is still kind of tickling my itch, if you will. Tons of 90, I think, Superflex teams in. They've done the Schnauzers and all that, but then cranking out a bunch of the $2 on drafters. Man, if you're just looking to scratch the itch, keep your drafting skills sharp. A $2 tournament on drafters is incredible. $10,000 to first place. You can max it out for $300 for a shot at 10K is pretty awesome. DraftKings has a bunch of different tournaments, so there's a ton of different options that I think we'll see doing a little bit of a better job of kind of applying my early drafts, as opposed to I got to get all this early EV in Best Ball Mania. There is some, but I'm not sure it's as stark as maybe I previously believed. GMs, a lot more GMs. Michael in the 3 spot. Who'd you get? Oh, CD. No wonder CD's not here. It's like 13% neighbors for me so far. So we'll keep ripping some more Malik Neighbors drafts here. Underdogs and slow drip with the small contest. It's always a difficult thing, right? For the platform, the Underdog, DraftKings, Drafters, or whatever, of figuring out how to appropriately time your smaller dollar stuff so that you still fill your Best Ball Mania, your Drafters main event, your DK Millie, or get as close, right? You don't want to have like absurd massive overlay. But what I will say is I do wish, and I'll give DraftKings some credit, and certainly Underdog has been awesome about the lower dollar stuff. But if we're gonna prioritize Pick'em and talk about how Pick'em is like making all this money, we shouldn't really care that much about overlay in these contests. Companies that have raised hundreds of millions of dollars, are worth billions and billions of dollars, especially on the DraftKings side. Forgive me if I am not worried about the fact that you have a couple $100,000 of overlay in a best ball contest. Let's see here. I'm gonna do Lad. I love Bowers, but a lot of the folks in the Spike League Discord have been letting me know this morning that apparently Brock Bowers is doing quite a bit of sliding in these draft rooms. Not that matters to me here. He's not going to fall all the way back to 32, especially with you guys. I see plenty of the familiar names in here. Brock Bowers is not getting back to me in the third round, but I'm gonna like monitor the Bowers situation just to see like how does this, right? I mean, shoot, he's already fallen to 21 in this room. JJ, right? The JJ drafter gets Brock Bowers. I think it's going to be fairly easy to get overweight Brock Bowers, easier than I thought it was going to be. I believe I have him ranked like 14th or 15th, something like that in the rankings. I don't really understand. I truly don't get it. I think this is fair. Charisma thinks Bowers is going to outscore Lad straight up. I think that's not an unreasonable take. I would be a little surprised. Lad is also very good, and he does get to play with Justin Herbert. So I think I'm going to go through and finally do some projections here this maybe end of this month, or maybe beginning of July, and build out some projections so I can have a better gauge of all that. I try to do it every single year. More so, I think I've talked about this a bunch. I think everybody should do, or at least do it like at some point in your life, do some form of projections process. Because not even just because you like, oh, I'm gonna absolutely project. I'm gonna be right about these guys' projections. Just like the shit you learn. Oh man, I've been also looking to get a little bit more. So I've been looking to get more JSN, but I've also been looking to get more of the elite quarterbacks. So let's do how about a Josh Allen team for once? We also recently had a conversation on elite quarterbacks on Wednesday in our lab, our weekly lab, and it got me all jazzed up to draft the elite quarterbacks. Actually, I think that was a hole in my game as well so far this year, is kind of lazily just drafting the third and fourth round receivers and running backs and like Kittle, and not getting enough. I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to draft like 30% Josh Allen, Lamar, Daniels, whatever. But that was just a clear gap in my portfolio, I think. Yeah, Paul says I can see the Raiders offense being very condensed. I suspect it will be very condensed. Bowers, Jacoby, Genty, and that's good. But they do still got to be a solid offense, which I think is going to require like Dante Thornton. These early Jack Besh reports are not ideal. Trey Tucker is clearly not going to elevate the offense. So if Besh is not him, we're looking at Dante Thornton being the ceiling raiser, I guess, on the offense. Okay, DJ Moore. Why do I have so much DJ Moore with? Let's do JMO instead. I've also come around on JMO quite a bit this year. Forgive me if when Dan Campbell hypes a guy to the moon, if I don't get fucking jazzed up, ready to go bite some ankles and kneecaps or whatever the hell he was talking about. Like, yeah, the way Dan Campbell speaks about JMO is like how I speak about my dogs. Just like, sure, they've made some mistakes, but I love them and they're awesome. Can't wait to see them. Excited for the next year, right? The things they're going to do are going to be great. Just ignore, the little, when they bark too loudly, ignore the errors of their ways when they gambled on FanDuel inside the team facility. Ignore that and just remember that they're awesome. They're the best. Okay, says they'll try to do projections for WNBA and CFL. Yeah, I'm quite sure it's very difficult for those sports. It's a difficult process if you want to do it really well. My actual projections process isn't so much so to try to do it well. As weird as that sounds, I'm not trying to be the most accurate projector. I can just go get people who are already good at projections and grab their projections, right? I can get Gretch's projections. I can get Mike Clay's projections. I can get whoever's. I don't have to do it myself. And I could just use those and tweak it if I really wanted to. It's about this is the cheesy shit, right? That people will say is the lesson is in the journey, but that's really true for projections. The things you learn just by being okay, if I tweak the pass rate, what does that mean, right? If we go from X pass rate to this pass rate, if we remove this player, this is the part that I think is the biggest for me is the idea of contingent value, and we know how chaotic a best ball season is. That's all it really is, right? Is chaos, and who benefits from the chaos. Chuba just goes off the board, right? Chuba was very good last year, undoubtedly, but he also benefited from the fact that Jonathan Brooks basically never played. They drafted a rookie in the second round who we all assumed, even if Chuba is good, is going to eat into his work. But Brooks essentially, right, never came back. He came back and got hurt again. So Chuba benefited from the chaos. What happens, right? Going through that process of being so what if Jonathan Brooks isn't right? What if the knee isn't that? You're oh shit, Chuba's a smash. Last year, you're oh my God, Chuba is an amazing pick. But you don't learn that without going through the process on all of these different teams. So I really do enjoy that that process. There goes Hurts. I don't think I've one Jalen Waddle team. I don't know that I really want to do another receiver, Mixon, Harvey. No, you know what? I'll capitulate to this absurd Jalen Waddle love that's going on. I'm just kidding. He's fine. But we don't give up on Jalen Waddle. That's something I've learned. The process of projection really grounds your assumptions in what is truly possible. Yeah, everybody has takes, right? This offense is going to stink. This offense is going to be good. I've debated about the Steelers a bunch of times already this year, where there's people that are wheels up on the Steelers, right? Because of Aaron Rodgers. I'm is it really? Is it? Go through and look at how slow Aaron Rodgers plays. Go through and look at how much Arthur Smith wants to run, how much Mike Tomlin probably wants to run. Go through and look at they have a quality defense. Go through and look at their receivers and truly look at the history. Don't just say DK Metcalf gets this many targets and Pat Freiermuth gets this many because they're on an NFL offense with shitty teammates. Go through and look at the history of shitty offenses, right? And slow offenses and run heavy offenses and all that kind of stuff. And it gets tricky. I'm not saying that there's something necessarily wrong with the Steelers, even though there is a lot of things wrong with the Steelers. They'll probably win 10 games or some bullshit again. We'll do a little James Conner action. Your our guy Big Country in the Discord calls it the late weak hero. We need a better name for it, I think. But there's something in there weak hero, late hero running back, right? We would call a hero running back. You're taking Saquon and then waiting on the rest of your running back room. This is not. I know people will push back on this, but what I'm drafting is not truly a zero running back team. James Conner is the RB 22, 21, 22. So you're still drafting this isn't the days of all the running backs are gone by the fourth round. So this is a quasi zero running back team, aka drafting RJ Harvey as your first running back. He's the RB 14 or 15 or whatever. You're not going that far out on a limb, but it's also not, it's also not just, it's not a 0 running back team, but it's also not like a real hero running back team either. So who's like the shittiest superhero, like the weakest Shazam? Who's like the worst superhero? That's what we need to name that team or that build. 0 hero. Hyper dead zone. I think the Steelers D is so good that their offense will get so many chances that they'll be. Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't go so far. What happened? I know our guy B Kurt is in here in the 10 spot. Who did you want? Hold on. Fast Willie. Okay. Hurts. Oh, did you take the double? Yeah. All right. Somebody took Naked Hurts. It sucks so bad. I love Jalen Hurts. I love the Eagles passing game stacks. And I'd try to push it all the time. It would have been out of the 110 to get the Eagles double with T-Mac and Nico. Woo, baby. I do need to continue to remind myself that we're in a 20-second here. Shits on the Steelers and then takes Caleb Johnson. But I actually like the running backs. Like my whole thesis around the Steelers is this pass game is not going to be awesome. And if the defense, right, if Charisma, if other people are right, the Steelers are still a good team because of the defense. That's probably pretty good for Caleb. We'll see about what it is for Jaylen Warren, right? One thing we do know about Aaron Rodgers, well, among many things we know about Aaron Rodgers, but one thing we know about Aaron Rodgers also that I think gets underrated a little bit is how valuable he can be to running backs. It didn't like appear that way with the Jets because Brees didn't pop like individually, but the combination of Brees, Braylon, Isaiah Davis, even on a shit team and a shit offense, there was fantasy value there, right? Rodgers doesn't run. Rodgers doesn't like to take sacks. Rodgers also like refuses to throw interceptions. And so that leads to checkdowns, right? And it leads to Rodgers. Sure, he'll do his goal line fade stuff, but like they don't really have the personnel for that this year so much. As big as DK Metcalf is, he's a pretty terrible like jump ball physical wide receiver. And so we'll do Tony Pollard. I have a whole bunch of Tony Pollard, but I don't have Pollard so much with these guys, so that works. I'm cool with this. I like a little bit of a James Conner, Tony Pollard chaperoning Caleb Johnson out to the zoo for a field trip. That one works. Keenan would leak sleek. I assume you look sleek in a Raiders jersey. It's thinning. The Raiders jersey is thinning. Oh, I'm allergic to Keenan on the Raiders, apparently. Wow. It's very weird to hear that Besh is falling behind because his skill set overlaps with Jacoby and Bowers. Did they not know that when they drafted him? Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. That's wild. I don't know what QBs were on the winning team last year. Baker, I think. I don't remember who. I don't remember who's on the winning team. I don't worry so much. I mean, it's interesting to see like what was on the winning team. I file that under interesting, but not something I really care too much about. I like to look at all the winning teams. It's cool to see, the top teams. I'm generally more so interested in like what could you win with as opposed to what did actually win. I think that's one of the bigger edges is everybody just looks at, right, they pull all the teams from last year, right? Because you can get like the BBM data, you can get drafters data. And we pull in the teams and we say, here's what happened amongst the teams that everyone drafted. It's like, well, those are just the teams that other stupid humans drafted. I don't care so much about the specific teams that the other, even the ones that won. You can win with misses. You can win. That doesn't mean that's what I want to draft from. I know that's not what you're saying, but it's one of those things that's always comes to my mind. Get a little bit of Keon. Keon is the epitome of I'm gonna draft second-year player, no real competition, at least for snaps. The interesting thing about the Bills to me that I do keep coming back to I like Shakir fine. Like I'll probably be like underweight at field, whatever, on Khalil Shakir. I'm forcing myself to take some Dalton Kincaid, but the outside wide receivers is who I think have the most opportunity, and that's Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer. Shakir is good, but Shakir is a slot receiver. Shakir's actually like become quite underrated, I think, like as a real life football player. But anyway, but like Shakir's never gonna, I don't think, like bump outside, right? His like he could play some on the outside, of course. Almost everybody does, but he's never gonna like change. His stripes will remain his stripes. There's like no other outside wide receivers on the team. Like Laviska Shenault, Elijah Moore is also a slot receiver. Like they just straight up don't have. Interesting. I have so much Trey. Will Herbert get back to me? Let's find out. Let's do the Chargers thing. But the Bills outside guys, Keon and Palmer, are like they also benefit the most from every scenario of the Bills. It could still be the same as last year, and they could be fine at these prices, Keon and Palmer. They could pass more. They could just throw for more touchdowns, right? They don't even necessarily pass more, but they just throw for more touchdowns, right? The variance of the season is less James Cook rushing touchdowns and more passing touchdowns. The outside guys benefit the most from that. So I've come, I'm not a big Keon Coleman fan. I was not a big Keon Coleman prospect fan either. Like I basically full faded him last year. But I'm willing to buy this dip a little bit given the situation with the Bills. Yeah, Najee had 300 touches last year. On the fields, Russ, George Pickens team. So it's the same thing here. He just has to, like, they're in the same situation. Let's just call for argumentative purposes the combo of Russ Fields versus Rodgers the same. We could split hairs about that. It's Rodgers better, all that. I think Rodgers is better for the fantasy purposes of these guys, particularly the running backs. But anyway, and we know Najee stinks, right? We know Najee is not it. He is not him, as the kids would say. Are they still saying that? Do kids still say like he's him or I'm him? I watch a lot of basketball. I haven't watched a basketball game where one of the kids does the I'm him after a bucket. Like Pascal Siak. Granted, Pascal is not very young, but like when Pascal dunked on J-Dub last night in one of the most fun plays I've watched in basketball in a long time, he didn't like run down the court yelling I'm him. So I don't know if that's a thing that's still a thing. But anyway, you get the point. There's a Mystery Men was not coming to my mind, but that's a good one. One of the Mystery Men characters as the crappy hero. Where are you at on Pacheco 0 RB? I like Pacheco this year. We're constantly hunting and pecking at the end of drafts for these Chiefs wide receivers, but I think I'm dying. I stepped outside for all of like 30 seconds just a little bit ago, and I think I'm dying. I don't think I've done Tajay with Pollard one single time. That's kind of interesting. Oh, no. This is the correct answer. Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid is another guy who I'm probably going to be underweight on, but I want to be in on the scenario where he did earn a lot of targets last year on his routes. The problem, of course, is that he needs to be out there more. And I think that's still an unlikely scenario. But, he bulked up this offseason, right? Greatest shape of his life, Dalton Kincaid at 24 years old or whatever. If something changes and he is out there more, he's playing in line more, he earned a lot of targets last year on a per route basis. Quite a bit, actually. But we just need the Bills to pass more or him to get out there more. And so I'm going to I do like him with Josh Allen. a little bit to the Pacheco question. Like, what was Pacheco's ADP last year? Like 3rd round, 4th round, and he basically just got hurt, right? We do this funny thing in the best ball market, the fantasy football market, whatever, where through no fault of that guy's own, generally through an injury, he has a bad season and we plummet him. Like, so if we told you last year at this time, not you, right? The royal you. We told everyone last year at this time, Pacheco is going to get hurt. How do you think he was still a 4th round pick? Clearly, the market would have said no, because all they didn't bring anyone in. Kareem Hunt, oh no, right? But they just replaced they just replaced P. Ryan with Eli Mitchell and oh no, Jaden Blue. You know what? Let's do the Freiermuth thing. Get a little secondary Steelers stack going. Load up on some running backs here the rest of the way. I do think I'm dying. But yeah, I like Pacheco. I'm definitely in on Pacheco. Have you been pairing elite quarterback with elite tight end at all? Not a ton yet. Well, so in Best Ball Mania, no, not yet really. But with the Bowers dip, and like Shuby definitely knows, and a lot of you probably know, my favorite structure to draft on Underdog is 2-7-7-2 with like a 0 RB or this shitty hero running back, right? Late hero, whatever the hell we're going to call it. Get awesome receivers and get a stable of running backs and mix and match kind of the archetypes and all that, right? Get something early-ish, right? I took James Conner in this draft. Doing some stuff like that is my favorite structure. Oh, I have a lot of Jalen Wright with. Who is he with? Is that Allen? No, that is. Okay. But he also fits having Jalen Waddle on this team. Get a little secondary Dolphins deal going on here. But I want to draft more of this. I want to draft more elite quarterback with elite tight end and build my kind of 0 RB-ish teams. Black Money says combo diversification seems to be way more valuable in total points contests where competing with all teams, but in BBM, you're likely only ever getting just one team to the finals. Yeah, I got no pushback on that. Why not add Warren and Spears to your running back room? Is it a good practice to pair RBs when it is a clear-cut pairing? Good is in the eye of the beholder. There are scenarios in which that definitely works. I do it some, but I think more often than not, what happens is there's a winner in the backfield, and that means one of them is a loser. There's shades of gray to all that, right? But let's take the Steelers last year. We thought Jaylen Warren might be able to just overtake Najee, or at least overtake a good chunk of it, and that was unfortunately not the case, which kind of made Najee a winner, right? Someone mentioned above that he got 300 touches last year. I think that kind of makes him the winner. Whether or not he was a fantasy smash is irrelevant to me. So I don't want to have both of them on the same team. But there are outcomes. I mean, Pollard, Tajay last year was probably a good one, where Pollard was quite helpful all season, and then he happens to go down, and Tajay is providing spike weeks in the fantasy playoffs. So it's a total push-pull. It's not something I avoid. I do want to be smart about how, right? I'm not doing Bijan with Tyler Algier. I'm not doing Saquon with Will Shipley, those kinds of things for me personally. But there are some of those backfields, Pittsburgh, the Giants, these shitty ones, apparently, right to the shittiest offenses. Damn. We got running back thirsty in this, huh? Jarquez Hunter at 176. Good God, man. You guys are not making this very easy on me. Where did Will Shipley go? Can't wait to see you guys fucking up Will Shipley's ADP again. Oh, right. Fast Willie. Right before me. So it was a totally fine pick, but also total asshole. Sniped Hurts from B. Kurt. Did you get Goddard? Wow, I like it. Fast Willie, nice team. There's a real hero running back team. Got Nick's Ingram. I don't love taking Nick's Ingram on Hurts teams, but also I don't want to like have no. You know, it feels pricey. But if like you hit on one late running back, who gives a shit? That paid off the priciness of your quarterbacks. But combo diversification is what helps you get to the finals. No, yeah, it can. I think just comparing this, I think combo diversification. Oh God, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is. There's no way Nick Chubb is the right pick on this team. I don't have a Texan, right? Okay. Let's do it. Let's do Nick Chubb. We don't have to like it. But it's probably the correct pick. Kincaid Freiermuth probably needs a little help in the tight end room. So I think we'll take this to 3 tight ends and then probably a 7th running back. We'll see. See, this is always worth it. This does go back to the point though that Shibi was making about taking elite quarterback and elite tight end on the same team. You don't run into this, like, you're not going to get this on every team that you draft like I just drafted, right? But you take Josh Allen and then I run into I'm still behind at running back. And my wide receivers are good, not the best in the room because I took Josh Allen. So I'm still like trying to find other places to make up stuff. And so tight end becomes, all right, we'll wait on tight end. But then you need, then you're like, I waited, crap, I probably need 3 of them now. You know, not necessarily, it depends on who you take, right? But now we'll get to the end. I'll be like, I need a 3rd tight end. But now, am I only going to have 6 wide receivers? Am I only going to have 6 running back? And I know a lot of people are comfortable with 6 running back rooms with like what I drafted here. I'm much more of a proponent of, especially on underdog and half point PPR, if we're going to constantly preach that running backs are more valuable, why are we not taking more running backs, right? And so I've been guilty of that for a long time. I think last year I started to figure that out a little bit better the last couple of years. If running backs are more valuable, then the late running backs, when they hit, are like the most valuable thing that you can possibly have. So I want to have layering, right? I want to have the ability to ping pong running back scores and all that kind of stuff. So let's do a little Marshawn Lloyd. I have not drafted him yet on underdog, which is not my plan. I've done a little bit on the other sites. So we'll do 7 running backs. Like, especially like to start the season, I pretty much have Connor, Caleb, Pollard, and a bunch of backups, which is okay. I'm comfortable with those kinds of running back rooms, but I want to have the depth, particularly when the fantasy playoffs come around. I want to have the depth of running backs. Like, I want running back is more powerful on underdog. I want it to be my flex, which means that's 3 running backs for 3 straight weeks. I would like it to be over the course of the whole season, but I need 3 running backs for 3 straight weeks. It's not going to be the same 3 running backs. So I need to have as many of them as I can. It gets a little bit easier in 20 rounds on DraftKings, Drafters, whatever, but I'm drafting more running backs. My plan is to draft more not necessarily invest more high picks, but draft more quantity of running backs than my opponents are doing, because I think it's valuable. Yeah, this is definitely true. Keon's only competition is separation. I maxed out the tourney in May this year for fun. Wow, nice. I ended with 15%. Donovan's kind of wondering what you think the value of getting more exposure now versus what I have. So hold on. Well, let's add one of these shit ass tight ends to this team. Theo makes sense having Neighbors, but this is a Fannin team. Fannin is my. There's nothing quite like a a week 17 Harold Fannin, Caleb Johnson stack, bringing home all the jibbies. The value of getting more exposure to you maxed out BBM this year, which props to you. That's incredible. Getting 150 BBM drafts in May. Also love the dog avatar. You're not competing. If you get more exposure to J.K. Dobbins now, you're not competing against your own team. Those teams have the best of J.K. Dobbins ADP, right? Any team you draft now is in a different contest. So you're not competing with those teams. If you think J.K. Dobbins is still a good pick at this current price, which I do, then, and I assume you probably do, because you're asking if you should get more exposure to him, then draft him, because you got the goods in BBM with your, what'd you say, 16%, 15% J.K. Dobbins. That's great. You nailed it. So now if you want to draft them in puppies, you want to draft them in Superflex, you're not competing against those teams. You're competing against some other teams in non-time, right, in the DK Millie or whatever. He's much more expensive. But I tend to generally believe if you think he's a good pick, without it, he hasn't risen to like the 60s. He's still like 130 on DraftKings. And so, I think the more appropriate range is probably in the 110, 100 range, just ballparking it for what his real cost probably should be. Something like that. I need to update rankings and so I can speak a little bit better to it. But that's kind of my general take is if you think he's still a good price and you're already done with BBM, you're especially drafting in time box tournaments. If he's a good pick, he's a good pick. I think Keon is a lot like Kelvin Benjamin. No arguments from me. GM Steve, why is Chris Godwin continuing to stay at the low price or slide? Am I insane to like him? No, sir. I like Chris Godwin. He's practicing. They're optimistic for week 1. He didn't like blow out his knee. Yes, he dislocated his ankle. It's not nothing. But we also always talk about like week 17. Week 17 is all that matters. Late season upside. Chris Godwin was the wide receiver 2 when he went down, so we know he has the upside. I know they drafted Ibuka. I think that's more of a coffin situation for Jalen McMillan, but nonetheless, Chris Godwin was the last time we saw Chris Godwin, he was an awesome football player. He had an injury that was serious, of course, but it's not generally one that like you can't recover from. Broken bones, right? Better than ligaments. And so I'm willing to bet on this dip. If the market was saying, Chris Godwin was the wide receiver 2 when he went down, he's back on the Bucs, he's going to crush it. I don't care about that ankle. It's fine. Then we would be cautious. But I'm getting Chris Godwin in like the 6th, 7th round. Like the guys in front of him have their own concerns. I think oftentimes what happens in the best ball market is we double count concerns for individual players. Because we might single count them for someone else. So they're counted, but we double count it for Godwin. It's like, well, Godwin has this injury issue. It's like, well, the 5th round pick that you draft ahead of him has his own issues. Risks are risks. We just pick certain ones that we think are, oh no, this risk is, this is catastrophic. And like generally they're about the same. Like Jalen Waddle leaves I drafted Jalen Waddle, right? Jalen Waddle leaves every fucking game banged up. He hasn't been good in years for fantasy. But we're holding on to hope for Jalen Waddle. The Dolphins' offensive line is terrible. Tua has health risks. Mike McDaniel, is he a fraud? There's like 1,000,001 risks for Jalen Waddle. And people are just like, yeah, but it's Jalen Waddle. Like, why does Chris Godwin not get the same thing? Why do all those other risks? The only real risk Chris Godwin has is the injury. You can say Ibuka, but like every team has multiple good players. Jalen Waddle plays next to Tyreek Hill, Jonnu Smith, Devon Achane. He has the same amount of target composition that Chris Godwin does. I can't really jive with Waddle being a good pick, but Chris Godwin being a bad pick. Risk is risk. You know what I mean? Maybe you think that the injury risk is like a significant like a significantly more impactful thing. And it might be. I will happily wave the white flag if that is something that people find out to be true. I just don't believe that that's the case. J.K. Dobbins feels like Sharps to RJ Harvey's Ken Walker. Yeah, I like, that's a good one. I've been saying like if Najee were good to Hampton, you know what I mean? Like a better Najee, right? And we draft Najee somewhere around pick 100. Like, what is the difference? J.K. Dobbins was better than Najee last year. He's been better his whole career when healthy, quite frankly. And he's behind a rookie. Hampton is probably better than Harvey. That's in the eye of the beholder. With the NFL, the Chargers certainly thought so. They drafted Hampton in the first round. The Broncos drafted Harvey at the end of the second round. So, like, I think Dobbins is somewhere in that pick 100 to 110 or whatever, right? Pure value. This is totally fair, but Ibuka can play outside too, right? If you remember, Chicken Nugget says it's the slot thing for me. Godwin is Ibuka in the slot come weeks 15 through 17. Jalen McMillan was a total slot, was a like full-time slot receiver at Washington. Odunze played on the outside, Polk played on the other outside, and Jalen McMillan played in the slot. And he's little. And they said Chris Godwin is the slot. They brought everyone back on the coaching staff, that coaching staff that wanted Chris Godwin to move back to the slot because that's where he's best, aside from the offensive coordinator, right? So you could say maybe the other coaches don't think Godwin can play in the slot. Okay, I'll tie that into the Ibuka risk for sure. But like everybody else that was in that building is still there, and all the other pieces, like Jalen McMillan just wasn't very good like from a real life efficiency perspective. He scored 8 touchdowns. You know, I think Jalen McMillan's like a font, like you want him on your NFL football team, but he's not like a game changer. Ibuka could just like take McMillan's spot. He could spell Mike Evans. Mike Evans could get hurt. Like, you know, there's just a lot of paths for a talented player like Godwin. This is possible. Is the secret that Mike Evans is just the worst Bucks click? Finally, that's possible. Waddle was 4th in targets on Miami, and all 4 of their dudes played 15 games for Waddle. Yeah, it's a okay. We got some good Keon stuff. Definitely better. The Keon vibes are elite. Like I'm not sure that he's ever going to be good at football, but I really enjoy the Keon vibes. I would love to hang out with Keon Coleman. We could go to Macy's and get the coats. He has all the different color coats. I would watch film with him where he's talking trash about how bad he was, right? The Keon vibes are elite. Kelvin Benjamin was the Eddie Lacy of wideouts. That is probably fair. Okay, Keon is the Kelvin Benjamin of Alshon Jeffries. Alshon Jeffrey. Yeah, this is a copy paste dates. Interesting YouTube name. It says it's important not to overthink the Godwin thing. The Pats offered him $30+ million, and he went back to the Bucks for far less. Yeah, he even mentioned that. Like, he wants to be in Tampa. They want him, and he said, you know, he could have gone and played for the Patriots for a lot more money. And he said no. Right? He said, I want to play for the Bucks. Did not mean to unshare my screen there. Let's do one more. Best Ball Mania 6 draft. I can't believe we're on Best Ball Mania 6. 20 seconds. Come get some. Oh, finally going to get away from you guys. Only waiting for one person. Let's see who gets it. That's true. That is definitely true. How do we feel about Bucks regression with no Duval? 101. 3 drafts in 2 days, and we get the 101. 67% hit rate on the 101 here. Spikeweek.com. We're running hot. I'm personally not worried. I know that's not his name. Liam Cohen. He will forever be known as Duval now, I think. I'm not worried about the Bucks. Is it a small concern? Yeah, the talent is so good. And like I said, if Liam Cohen had poached the whole coaching staff, which happens quite a bit, right? The like OC leaves and he takes a bunch of the assistants with him. That didn't happen in Tampa, and so it lessens that concern for me. There's always a concern of like, was he the offensive mastermind? And he's the one who got Baker back going. That's definitely a concern. I think it's more of a pro Lawrence concern, and I'm a little less concerned about all the Bucs guys. But it's not nothing. It's not as right. It's not for assigning numbers to the risk. It's not as 0 to 100. How concerned are you about Liam Cohen? It's not a 0, but it's definitely not even fucking close to 100. It's a small number. Why aren't we as a draft society? Why aren't we taking Baker before Mahomes? I think I have them back to back in the ranks. Like I said, I got to go through an update today. But yeah, I don't see what the difference is. Although Mahomes has done a thing multiple times, and I don't mean like Super Bowls and real life wins. I believe Mahomes threw for 50 touchdowns in a season, right? I'm pretty sure. God damn it. I'm pretty sure Mahomes threw for 50. What was the MVP season? 50. So Mahomes has a 5. Oh my God. You forget how good it was during the I don't mean you. I forget how good it was during the Mahomes stretch. In 2022, Mahomes threw for 5,250 yards and 41 touchdowns. In his breakout season, right? His first year after his rookie year behind Alex Smith, he threw for 5,097 yards and 50 touchdowns in 16 games. 5,100 yards and 50 touchdowns in 16 games. Now, it's been 3 years, right? That 2022 was the last monster fantasy season for Patrick Mahomes. Baker's never done that. And Mahomes is still just turning 30. Or has turned 30. It's just age 30 season. I don't remember. It is our second draft already, Self. So I don't want to discount that, but it has been bad for Patrick Mahomes. I think Baker is close with him for sure, but there's just something about Patrick Mahomes. Rashee Rice is back. I know Kelsey is a corpse now, but they drafted Worthy. They drafted Rice. I actually think Jalen Royals gives them an extra just a little boost of a ceiling, right? Because I think it's possible Jalen Royals can really play. They're not investing in the run game, right? It's Pacheco. And I mean, the only air quotes running back they drafted was in the 7th round, and he's basically a wide receiver, Brashard Smith. So I think there's a scenario in which like we get that 5,000 yards, 40 passing touchdowns from Mahomes. They're still a top 5 passing volume team in the NFL. The Chiefs are. Just doesn't feel like it because it hasn't been as fun, right? Hollywood. I didn't even mention Hollywood, like a bounce back Hollywood season. Like there's just a lot of paths to Mahomes going like full scorched earth that I don't think Baker can really get to that level. Mahomes' era was Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher have been downhill since losing those guys for fantasy. Yeah, fair. Offensive tackle absolutely matters. Ain't no doubt about that. Though they have a pretty good offensive line now. The Chiefs do. They had the Bucs Super Bowl, right? When the offensive line collapsed, and then they have spent on it. This is interesting. Who's more alive for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns? I still think I'm going to say Mahomes. I get why you would think that that's crazy. I still think I'm going to say Mahomes though. Back on the clock. Oh, I don't think I have JT and Chase. Let's do JT and Trey McBride, because I have as you see, I've taken a lot of Trey McBride. This 67% here is a oh no, that's Trey McBride with J. Oh, let's do it. That's too fun. Say whatever we want about Jonathan Taylor. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Jonathan Taylor is better in half point PPR. Trey McBride notably worse in half-point PPR because, he hasn't scored a touchdown since Pee Wee football. But Chase, JT, McBride feels good. I do think if Benny says it's not crazy, like half the league just can't do it at all. They just feel like guys going in opposite directions for fantasy. I agree. I just don't want to overweight a couple of. It's tough because I agree. That's what it feels like. I'm with you. It feels like, oh man, Baker has like come into his own. The Bucks are a good offense and a worse defense than this is part of why I like the Bucks. I don't really see a path to where the Bucks defense is really good. The Chiefs defense generally has been very good. But if the Chiefs defense is not as good and they just say, Mahomes, wheels up, buddy, you, Rasheed, Worthy, go figure it out for us. Go score some, go get some buckets, right? Go give me a bucket. I think we need to be cross-referencing, like calling dudes a bucket in football. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I'm a big fan of calling something like he's a bucket. Like I'm a very big fan of that phrase in basketball. So like Rashee Rice is a bucket, right? So go get buckets, Patrick. I don't think the Bucks have a bunch of ballers too on offense. Let's be clear. But I don't know. I'm not backing anything up with nothing but vibes. But I do just see this. Mahomes is only 30, and before the last 2 seasons, we never would have said like, oh yeah, Mahomes is like a lukewarm fantasy option. We're like, no, this dude is the best quarterback like of all time. Maybe he's trending towards the best quarterback of all time, him and Brady, right? And now a couple of down seasons, largely through touchdowns and some weird regular season stuff. One where they basically didn't have a good offensive pass catcher. Like Kelsey was like fine 2 years ago, and remember Juju we were drafting Juju in like the 4th round of fantasy drafts. Hey. Yeah, if Worthy is a big play bucket, if Worthy is like Vince Carter in the dunk contest, like all bets are off, as you say, 100%. This is also fair. Maybe finally not winning the Super Bowl, right? When you win the Super Bowl every year, you're like, who gives a fuck about this regular season stuff? And I think they still might not really care that much about the regular season compared to other teams. They care a lot. But it's just, I think the Chiefs are really interesting this year. And I quite frankly have not thought they were very interesting the last couple of seasons. So like to this Pacheco point before, we're getting a discount on him. I'm not so into Kelsey, but Rice, Worthy, right? If you like Hollywood, Royals. If you don't like Pacheco, there's Brashard Smith or Kareem Hunter or Eli Mitchell. The Chiefs are fascinating. Damn it, Versaire. If T-Mac got all the way back, that was going to be sweet. Okay. Now, should I do the unstack Jalen Hurts thing? Test out the elite quarterback with elite tight end here? Shoot. This is rough. I really don't want DK Metcalf, but I also don't want Cortland Sutton. But I guess we're going to do the boring-ass Cortland Sutton stuff here. Yikes. That's gross. Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Trey McBride, Jalen Hurts, Cortland Sutton. Yep, this is the way to play it. Take T-Mac. Obviously, you knew I was taking T-Mac. Take T-Mac, and you knew I'm not going to take Kittle because I have Trey McBride. Why did you pass on Hunter? Are you out? Yeah, I just don't think Hunter is a better pick than those guys. I wouldn't say I'm out. I just don't think the price is good enough for me to dabble. It's getting closer though. Definitely getting closer. Is McMillan? I assume you mean Jalen McMillan, not Tetaroa McMillan. I wouldn't say toast, but I'm pretty confident he's their 4th best wide receiver which means how much is he playing? Cade Otton like never comes off the field. They play a tight end most of the snaps. He's a rotational fourth wide receiver. One of the best fourth wide receivers in the NFL, let's be clear. But if we're doing another 0 to 100 scale, how toast is he on a scale of 0 to 100? It's closer to 100, right? If Duval leaving is a 10 on the risk scale, McMillan on the toast scale is more like 65, something like that. Max says, I think JT will have a monster season this year. He finished the year very strong and is still one of the best workhorse talents. I got no problems with Jonathan Taylor. He now has Daniel Jones, who will check the ball down more, right? Than the concerns for JT is like, oh, he's just not going to catch passes. And he crushed even though he didn't catch passes. His just truly nuclear ceiling. JT is one of the best running backs in the NFL. We can debate where he ranks, but he's one of the best. Like, how much better is Bijan than Jonathan Taylor exactly? Like, Bijan's great. How much better is he than Jonathan Taylor? Now I know he catches passes, right? We're probably more excited about the Falcons, so that's why Bijan goes ahead of him. But I'm just comparing the two. Is CMC for sure better now than Jonathan Taylor? And now we have most likely Daniel Jones at quarterback, which is fucking pathetic that's like a bull case, and that's why he doesn't go, in the first round. But in half point PPR, the pass catching is a little bit less restrictive. The lack of pass catching is a little bit less restrictive, and we know the ceiling is just absolute nuke. He's been the 101 before. He was the best fantasy asset last year down the stretch. Making toast on the West Coast. Love some sourdough toast. We're doing Brenner tonight. Wife and I love to cook breakfast for dinner. I also got a Blackstone, and oh Jesus Christ, Jerry Jeudy. This looks like a Ricky Pearsall team for sure. I could do the old Shakir bring back to the Hurts stack though. I'm not doing Caleb again. Let's do. Look at that, 4% Shakir. I don't have Khalil Shakir on a team with any of. See all that red, all those zeros? That means every single person that I've drafted, I've never drafted Khalil Shakir on a team with them. That is the combinatorial stuff that can pop, because there's no real reason that he isn't on any of those teams other than I don't love him, right? But he does correlate with Jalen Hurts. As we see here, so we got the Buffalo correlation popping on the screen here. And I need wide receivers. So I like this. I actually like this team. I think I'm turning into an elite quarterback, elite tight end, bro, right before your eyes. Fuck those wide receivers. Yeah. Once I got the Blackstone, it was like, dude, especially for breakfast. Oh my God. It's like a life changer. And because, like I said, we've cooked breakfast. We do it a lot. Bacon, eggs, toast, hash browns. Not a lot of, I'm not a like French toast pancake guy at all. My wife does like that stuff. Hilariously, I enjoy a waffle more than a pancake, but nonetheless, I don't really like either. I'm not huge into sweets. So like this, I'm not a syrup and bread kind of guy. I do really like, some good sourdough toast. Ooh, baby, sign me up. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, cooking breakfast on the Blackstone. Just an absolute game changer. Like not having to be in the, managing all the shit on the stovetop, all the different dishes, doing a million different dishes, right? Trying to time everything up. Just brutal. Just absolutely brutal. So just being able to do it all on the one stovetop, it cleans up easier. The timing is so much less of an issue. It's great. Yeah, I've always found that a lot of people find that to be a hot take, but I don't think that that's a hot take. The crisp and the way that there's the little holes for the syrup to go into. I can appropriately, it's not like sliding all over the place. I can appropriately apply the right amount of syrup. And I like, it's like toast, right? I don't just eat bread with syrup on top of it. Like, I want the crispiness to it with a chewy inside. So waffles are pancakes are my least favorite. It would definitely be waffle, French toast, pancakes if we're going that route. Yeah, 100%. I mean, ketchup is the single most overrated condiment that has ever existed. You have absolutely fallen for big ketchup propaganda, thinking that we're supposed to use ketchup on all of these things. It's crazy. Like, who decided ketchup goes on hot dog? That doesn't even make any sense. This tomato sugar paste on top of a hot dog, that doesn't make sense. Ketchup is probably the worst condiment that exists, and it's the most famous popular condiment in America. It's crazy. That's nonsense. It's gross. Hot sauce or bust, man. Tabasco sauce is fine, but like hot sauce or bust. You're doing ketchup, tomato sugar paste on top of your eggs. Disgusting. Oh god. Oh no. Cooper Kupp is a fit on this team. So is Keon, actually. We took Caleb on the other team. Let's do a little Jalen Warren on this one. How about that? I mean, I'm here's another one that you're seeing live in real time that I do not like. This is interesting, actually. I can't believe we're double dipping Keon. You know what? I kind of like this. Doing the Bills. I'm kind of getting a double whammy, if you will, of taking Jalen Hurts, but getting kind of the beneficiaries of two elite quarterbacks. Stacking the Bills without Allen, putting Hurts in there, right? I'll try to get Goddard, of course, as my tight end too. And I'm like still getting like kind of the perks of Josh Allen. Of course, a lot of the perks of Josh Allen are the rushing and the rushing touchdowns. But I'm getting this secondary Bills thing, and they also, of course, happen to play the Eagles in Week 17. So, like, envision the scenario in Week 17 where Jalen Hurts steals all the touchdowns, but Allen, it's a shootout, and Allen is throwing some touchdowns to Shakir and Keon, but Jalen Hurts pushes in 3 touchdowns or whatever, right? Like, we can always dream up these stupid scenarios, but I don't know. That one doesn't feel that crazy. 100%. I'm with you, dude. First, but can we at least make fun of the term aioli? Dial says Chipotle aioli on bacon, egg, and cheese. 100%. Like, could not agree more. But we've also, if we're making fun of the ketchup propaganda, we should make fun of the aioli propaganda. We just created a new word for fancy mayo, right? It's like it makes you feel like you're supposed to eat it with your pinky in the air, right? Aioli. It sounds so fancy. It has this lemon butter aioli. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? It's like, well, it's just mayonnaise. It's the food, all the food stuff is so funny. Nate Bargatze, if any of you've watched, I'm sure you've heard of him, but if you've watched, he did the SNL bit about like, we're gonna call, what's a hamburger, what's a cheeseburger, and it's like, well, it's beef, and it's like the jokes about the things that we name stuff, and it's so like a hot dog, right? Why is it called a hot dog? It's not a dog, it's not hot either. I mean, temperature wise it is, but not in the way the youths would like to say. This is good. It's mayo for people with money to spend. That's funny. If you like what Coach Duval did in Tampa Bay so much, can I interest you in what Canales did in Tampa Bay? Yes, I know, Patrick, our resident Panthers fan. I'm on the Panthers, my man. I love the Panthers. I was gutted that T-Mac didn't make it back to me at the 4 or 5 turn. I'm with you. I draft Chuba. I draft T-Mac. I draft Bryce. I draft Dowdle. I draft Jatavian Sanders. I will plug my nose and draft Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette a non-zero amount of times. This is definitely a Bateman-ass team. Let's do Bateman. I got to save Goddard, right? Yeah. Save Goddard. We'll do Javonte. I am the known sole person on all of YouTube drafting basketball teams that likes Javonte Williams. And like is the inappropriate word. I'm also very concerned that Javonte Williams just sucks, but I think there's a lot of reasons why he could be a great pick at this cost. And I'm about to draft a whole shitload of backups. It's about to be backup running back season for like the rest of this draft. So I'll take a little bit of RB2 Javonte Williams for as long as I can handle it. See, this is what you come to Spike Week for. Benny is giving out the real food takes about ketchup. It's sweet and simple for a child, right? Dip your hot dog in the ketchup, child. You probably like it because it's a children's palate. But then the sugars in the corn are addictive. So us stupid idiot humans become addicted to this ketchup and we put it on everything. Instead of it's cheap. Well, I mean, humans made up aioli. CityWork says we didn't make up aioli. We just stole the word and started using it. I mean, I did. I mean, a human made up the phrase aioli. Americans definitely use most things wrong. We're a very stupid people. We constantly use that. That was the Bergetzi bit, right? Is about how stupid humans are, or Americans are. But I didn't literally mean like Americans made up aioli. I just meant like, the vibes of aioli are stupid. So not ketchup, just tomato paste. That's even worse, I think. Do you also use mayo-less aioli? Do you use hot sauce without peppers? Right? What would that even? How do you make a hot sauce without peppers? I'm not. Forgive my ignorance if some of these things are very stupid. I'm not a foodie. And this all started from my simpleton. Speaking of stupid American things, get a Blackstone griddle, and I'm like fired up about it. It's gonna be a great day. I'm heading to the gym to go play some ball. I'm gonna go play some ball after this. Shoot some hoops. Show the kids what a real basketball player looks like. And then hold on. Who the fuck took Dallas Goedert? No Bo Sox. Sick. I'm in straight panic. So Jake Ferguson it is. Jack Besh stinks. So no, thank you. I also don't have a quarterback 2, and I don't really have a great out to a quarterback 2. So that was probably foolish. Let's do Garendo though. Son of a bitch. Well, that sucked. Oh, brother. I am a bucket. I can still shoot that thing. Can't jump so high anymore or run that fast. But I'll shoot that I'll shoot that thing. Yeah. Kai says, I am the Kai says, tomatoes have their own sugar. Do they remove it from your? So it's ketchup that doesn't even have tomatoes? That's crazy. Yeah, man, all the tight ends just went right off the board. Yeah, Devin picked the wrong day to skip breakfast, and this has turned into food. Welcome to Spike Week, where you learn about food, buckets, what else? Propaganda, the meaning of the word aioli and where it came from, Blackstones, and bad best ball advice. That's pretty much what we do. But yeah, that's stunk with Hurts. It's fine. He's fine, right? Jalen Hurts is it's fine. He provides most of his fantasy upside with his rushing, so you can draft him naked. It's like, sure. Yeah, I highly doubt that. I am too old to play with the kids, though. It's my main problem. Also, too out of shape. But we're gonna go hoop a little bit, and then we're gonna do some more podcasting, and we're gonna cook some Brenner. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be hot as shit. It's gonna be like 95 or something today here in St. Louis, if I recall, which I'm not particularly looking forward to. No, 90, only 90, no big deal. I wish I'm only 6 foot tall, but that's a reasonable. This is a reasonable take. I really just shoot now, although I am still kind of a guard. Yeah, Kevin Love. What a great compliment. What a great player Kevin Love was. Boards, and I rebound like a vet, but not like Kevin Love. It's more of a like TJ McConnell was rebounding last night. It's like, just got a nose for the ball. I'm not the world's best athlete, but we're on the backside. We're reading the ball off the rim, right? Like Dennis Rodman, doing the Rodman. But we've lost the athleticism. So maybe the Kevin Love comp is correct. I'm trying to think maybe more like Kyle Korver who can dribble, something like that. But yeah, I'm on a mission to be the best, at least the best shooter. I don't know if I'll be the best basketball, but I don't know if I have it in me to get my athleticism back. I'm on a mission to be the best shooter in. So Shipley is all right. We're taking Shipley. You fuckers are not. We're not doing this dance again. Tank looks good on this team. All the quarterbacks are gone, right? No. Let's push it one more with quarterback. Let's get Bigsby on the team. So that gives us Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, Isaac Guerrero, Will Shipley, and Tank Bigsby, with Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, Ricky Pearsall, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Rashad Bateman, Trey McBride, Jake Ferguson. I like this team. Now I'll probably get a quarterback, most likely, hopefully get another quarterback and a couple of wide receivers to close her out. You weren't even born when Joe Johnson was a thing. Well, how would you know anything about Joe Johnson? Ooh, Martin says, had this debate with Davis. Would like your take. Who wins, NBA players versus NFL players in flag football? I'll still say NFL players from the kind of the straight speed, the nuance of covering people. Like, there's at the athletics, NBA players can hold up athletically, in any sport, essentially. It's the nuances of like playing man coverage, right? Flipping your hips. Like and I'm going back to my defensive back days, but there's nuances of, right, like running routes and all that kind of stuff. It's not just pure athleticism. So For sure NFL players. Yeah, this is your problem. Learn a jump shot form. Come on. It's not that fucking hard. You're not solving world hunger. You're shooting a goddamn leather ball at a hoop that doesn't move. I'm glad that Shuby brought this up earlier. I think I'm kind of into this. I think I'm kind of into this elite quarterback plus elite tight end thing. Obviously, what Hurts makes it easier, but also harder because, are you stacking him? What do you do? So do you want to pull up some Devontae Smith to the 2-3 turn to make sure you get him, or do you want to just hope that Devontae Smith falls back to the 4-5 turn? That's tricky. Obviously, this is on a Jamar Chase team. You could do this from different spots of the board, right? Whether it's Allen or Lamar with Bowers or McBride or Daniels. I'm pretty into this. I'm pretty into this structure. Yeah, Justice Hill has been climbing but so has Keaton. It's not like anything crazy, but Keaton is just like slowly working his way up from like undrafted last round to a little bit more prevalent ADP. Yeah, this is you can, because then it's just a 1v1, right? Which is okay. I'll do. I know this is like a nice fall for Darnold, but Daniel, this is definitely a Daniel Jones team. And then let me guess, Diami has gone to one of you fuckheads took Diami Brown, I assume. Oh boy. Let's do. I have 2% Dante Thornton. I have too much of the Slaytons of the world. Let's get a little juice. Let's get a little juice into this wide receiver room to close it out. Yes, I saw AD Mitchell there. We'll see. I'm not forcing AD Mitchell onto any team ever. But if he's available, I can also just take the Dimes JT little. Yeah. So for total points, right? So Martin says the 1v1 is like Rashee Rice or T. Higgins or Garrett Wilson or whatever against Pickens, Sutton, Metcalf. No, excuse me, right? So it'd be Devontae Smith. So you would have Devontae Smith at the 4. Let's take that one. Hurts and Devontae Smith at the 4-5 turn. And you have Rashee Rice, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? You have that group, Tyreek Hill, whatever. So it's one of those guys. Or you pull Devontae up to the 2-3 turn and get Hurts at the 4-5 turn. And then you take Pickens, Metcalf, Sutton, maybe T-Mac, gets down there. That group, right? You're taking that 4 or 5 group. I would not want to do that in total points. But then in total points, it's also possible that there's a uniqueness element to it. Anyway, the real thing is, like, in the playoffs, can Courtland Sutton outscore Rashee Rice in a game? Yeah. Can George Pickens? Yeah, for sure. So it's just about, like, do you ever want to get I think it's definitely bad, right, from like a straight up 1 week or full season projection standpoint, but can those other guys be good, have a good season, and definitely have a spike week at the right time or outscore T or something like that? Absolutely. So definitely not something I want to do like to any like real significant degree. But like if you find yourself never having Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts on the same team, like if you do a bunch of drafts and you've never done it, I think I would pull them up just to try to get it. Like I don't want to have 0 like this team that I'm drafting, Chase, Trey McBride, Jalen Hurts, and what I would like to have Devontae Smith. If I do hundreds of drafts and I never get that combination, I think I would pull it up once to make it happen. So that's kind of how I think about some of the combinatorial stuff, if that helps. About to get back on the clock with the very last pick in the draft. I think Thornton is this year's Alec Pierce, expecting to have at least 2 to 3 nice spike weeks. Sounds like he could have upside for more too. I'm with you. I like the comp. So now I am going to take AD Mitchell. I don't love it, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do on the team. Let's run down the team super quick, and then we are going to get out of here. No, I would rather have unstacked. I would rather have unstacked Jalen Hurts than draft Jahan Dotson. Looks like I still got a bunch of BBM slows going here. That's not the right one. We'll run down the team super quick, and then we will get out of here so we can go show the folks at the local YMCA how to shoot a basketball. Jalen Hurts. We did the from our friend Shuby in the chat. Asked about elite tight end and elite quarterback on the same team, and I discussed how I liked it, and thus we put it into practice here on this team. Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones at quarterback. Took I'm down for JT at the 1-2 turn. JT, Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, Isaac Garendo, Will Shipley, and Tank Bigsby. I'm down for that. Running back room also. Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, Ricky Pearsall, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman. Nice little secondary Bills stack. I'm into it. Got a secondary Niner stack with Pearsall and Garendo. Bateman. Let's go ahead and take a flyer on a slight fall on Bateman in the Ravens offense when I kind of need some wide receivers, and then round it out in the last 2 rounds with Dante Thornton and AD Mitchell. AD Mitchell, of course, to go with our little Colts stack we got going on. And then our elite tight end was Trey McBride. We have Jake Ferguson, another little secondary stack of the Cowboys, and I think Jake Ferguson is a great pick. So that's going to do it for us here. Be on the lookout this weekend for some more content coming here on the channel. If you could please hit like on the way out, just smash the like button. It would be much appreciated. Thank you for hanging out. Have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy your ketchupless meals later tonight, because you guys are not sick and twisted individuals putting sugar tomato paste on all of your stuff. And of course, Rob will be back with you on Sunday morning for a Sunday Sickos draft, and enjoy the NBA Finals. We got a lot going on around here, and it's hot best ball summer. Very hot. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.